All right, Chris. I approve of you taking the shot of sriracha, given that you had to be to work. Um, I also applaud you for not wanting to be a complete alcoholic. Thank you very much. It actually reminds me, when I was in the Army, I was in the reserves, and a bunch of friends of mine, since you asked me about the military and everything, I thought I'd give you a military story. We were at after work one day, we went to a Hooters because they've got good food. We'll go with that. And I overheard a conversation by a couple of guys who were sitting there. They were trying to convince their friend to chug a bottle of Tabasco sauce. And they were going to pay him $15. And I overheard this and I turned around and I was like, I'll put $5 on that. Everybody I was there with, we all was like, oh yeah, totally, I'll put money in on that. We ended up giving the guy $65 to chug an entire restaurant-sized bottle of Tabasco sauce. It was unpleasant for him. Let's just say he spent the rest of the meal throwing up in the bathroom. It was great. In honor of that, I thought I would do another shot of... No, that was fucking awful. I'm never doing that again. Right now, I'm actually drinking J.P. Weisser's whiskey, which is a really good whiskey. I have no idea if you can get it out in the Midwest, but it's like $30 at the grocery stores out here. I'm drinking that mixed with Dr. Pepper. It is quite delicious, I might say. And I know that you're a big fan of Bernie Sanders, but it really seems to me that Bernie Sanders is just the leftist response to the Tea Party. The Tea Party's a bunch of wacko conservatives. Bernie Sanders is an admitted socialist, and in the U.S., being a socialist is the same thing as a Tea Party, just on the other side of the spectrum. And I know you say he doesn't need to win to be successful, because he's there to push the candidates like Hillary Clinton further to the left. But the problem that is, it just creates more divisiveness in our politics right now. I'm going to try and remember to put a link in the description about CGP Grey Explains. He's a spectacular YouTuber. He's got a great thing on the issues with the two-party system and some better voting methods, which I think everybody should see, and I think you should see them as well. And I just wanted to add that I don't think living in the White House should be a measure of success for anybody, because honestly, I fucking hate home offices. And you can't get more than a home office than the White House. You asked me a rather complicated question about my opinion on the portrayal of the military in the media. To start with video games, because you and I, we both play Battlefield. You actually introduced me to the game originally, I think. I don't know. I'll give you credit for that anyway. The problem with the military is it's kind of like fishing. There's like 5 hours of boredom for 5 seconds of excitement, and that just it makes for a terrible video game. As for the changes in how we are portraying the military in the media, my wife and I have actually been watching MASH, which is, in my opinion, one of the best TV shows ever. And it does a spectacular job of representing some aspects of the military and of war. And after you asked me this question, I went and I actually finally got around to watching To Hell and Back, starring Audie Leon Murphy, a movie about Audie Leon Murphy and how he became the most decorated living military personnel in the history of the United States. He's one of the few guys who actually got the Congressional Medal of Honor without getting himself dead beforehand. And it did some it did some things really well, some very good things. It showed some of these issues with being in war and needing to go out and do things, but the movie artistically was awful. The dialogue sucked. Some of the acting was really good, but the dialogue sucked. The pacing was terrible. It jumped over these transitions that could have been used to develop the characters, and they just failed miserably in so many respects. And I did some research on American Sniper, and there are some issues with some of the things he said that some people or whatever, it doesn't really fucking matter. Because in all media portrayals of the military, they gloss over certain things, either because the public doesn't care about them, or there's an overwatching organization like the American Film Association or whatever the fuck they are, who says, no, you can't put that out there because the American public finds bad words indecent or some stupid shit. But we always gloss over certain aspects of what it's like to be in the military, and I think giving a real accurate portrayal of it would fail because people don't want the military as it actually is. People don't want reality as it actually is. Why else would you go to a movie? You don't go to a movie to see what you know. You go to a movie to see what you don't know, to be entertained by what you do know. But it's not there to say, hey, this is something that everybody goes through. This is a normal kind of thing. It's different from what you have, but it's still just stuff. And when people do try and do that, nobody pays attention. Because it's fucking boring. I remember telling one of my teachers when I was a kid, I want a movie, I want a book, I want a story where the bad guys win. And she gave me 1982. And when I finished it, 1984. Sorry, my wife is off camera. She just held up 4 fingers. Yeah, I got that one wrong. 1984. 1982. I knew it was a year off when I was born. When I finished it, I threw the book at the board because I was so irritated that the bad guys won. And I have never wanted to go and read a book or see a movie or hear a story where the bad guys win. Because I don't want the bad guys to win in my fantasies, because the bad guys win in my reality all too often. So, being in the military sucked, and it did a lot of good, but you can't really put that on camera very well. I'll talk to you later, man.